Traffic Jam is on now.
Yo, it's your boy Marvin Phipps again with Traffic Jam. We got a special guest this week, Maya DiGiorgio. How you doing today?
I'm exhausted, but I'm good.
Sorry to have you up so early, man. What, you on the road? You gigging?
Yeah, I'm in Atlantic City at the Borgata. So we had a show last night and now I got to leave cities. I got to go to New York City. I'm traveling. So, I finally got to sleep and then I got to get up, but I've been trying to catch you guys. So I'm grateful to be able to get on your show.
It's a pleasure to have you. We're going to jump right in this thing, man. I just, for those out there who don't know too much about you, how long you been doing comedy?
Don't do that to me. I'm a deaf comic. I did Def Comedy Jam back in the day. I was at a couple Apollos. I did a couple BET Comic Views. I'm so old that I used to be the morning show host with Ed Lover and Dr. Dre. I replaced.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I sued the station, but I'm not allowed to talk about that. But my morning show, me and Ed personally released before the world got it, Hard Knock Life.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That was what, 90? I mean, what year was that?
It was like 2000. Was it 2099? It was around there.
99.
Yes.
Hard Knock Life. So a lot of comics, they always think that we try our material out on Friends. Do you try your material out on Friends?
Reverse. I get my material from my friends.
Yeah.
So I got a friend who I like to call in my act. I had to change her name, but I call her Tiffy.
Okay.
Every time I meet Tiffy, I would be so mad. She would say some stupid racist stuff. And I'm like, I can't with her. I can't. And I've just walked for 2 blocks back. I could have cabbed it back. I'm just gonna walk to clear my head. And then a joke forms out of me, or if I call my other friends, I would describe what she just did. Then I'm like, ooh, I need to write that down because I need it for myself. So I write jokes for myself. Even the jokes about my family is all, is it me or what? That's my approach.
Right. Do you find yourself always putting it in your phone or you writing it on paper?
Phone, and trying to write it on paper. I think that if you write it on paper, that the wording comes out a little bit better. Yeah,
me too. So you back in the day on Def Comedy Jam, did you go to the Def Comedy Jam 25th anniversary?
Yes, I did.
And Dave Chappelle brought you out. Do you rock with Dave? Is that your boy or
yeah,
what?
I do. He's the sweetest can be. I mean, even every time, even he just gets out there in Hollywood, he's so funny. You got to come to this party. You keep disappearing. Or I should do it like in DiGiorgio. I'm expecting to see you at this party. Please don't leave. Please don't leave. Please don't leave. I'm like, I've had it with everything and everybody in this business, but it's getting good. Finally, I'm starting to have some fun.
Was you there the night he was attacked?
Yes, I was.
Are you really?
Yep.
How was that? How was that night?
Okay. All right. It was one of those nights where I'm a lightweight, literally, you give me 2 margaritas and I gotta go to sleep. So everybody kept bringing me drinks. So right before he got attacked, 2 minutes before attack, I stumble in the back to the green room from the front of the bowl. And that's when it happened. So I missed it. And then I went home and went to sleep. And all my friends, because I brought a bunch of friends because they're such huge Chappelle fans. So I brought them and they're like, we went to after party and you won't believe it, blah, 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 blah. I was like, okay. It's just, I know it's very, very dramatic. I should have gone. I should have been better at business, but I was like, I'll just see you guys later. It was one of those weird, too many people kept giving me drinks and I lost count.
You know what I find impressive about Chappelle? I'm from Chicago. I went to see him and Kevin Hart at Madison Square Garden.
Okay.
And he talks about the attack. I'm so impressed that he's able to have so much funny material from that night so quickly, and it just was super funny.
Dude, okay, first of all, he's a knee-jerk comic. So if you do, as soon as Chappelle panics, and I'm the same way, you stick me in a hospital, I'm hilarious. If you wheel me into the ER or operating room, I am funnier than I've ever been. So when you're a true comic, it's in your funny bone. So it's the same thing with Dave. Like with true comic, you know, he's going to get attacked. And then he was with Chris Rock all night. Like, come on, you can't tell me they weren't just going on and on and on. The whole night was a room full of funny people, you know? So yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. Like the second it happened is how he hiccuped, you know?
And I think, I don't know, I could be wrong, but I think Chris Rock is the opposite, because I'm waiting on him to talk about the Will Smith incident.
No, Chris Rock is more mature. I think what's going on, if he does come out with it, it's going to be professionally done, because Will Smith is huge. That's the challenge. Will Smith is still huge and no one knows how much power he has. When it's some random person that ran the stage, you can destroy him all you want. But was, you know, in fact, the night he got attacked, Chris Rock ran on stage. He goes, "Was that Will Smith?"
Right,
so
right.
It's only, that's why I was like, oh my God, they're just so stupid. But that's how this used to be when we used to be at like the Boston Comedy Club back in the day. Everybody, it was always a madhouse. It was always crazy. It was unruly. There was nobody you had to do the right thing by, and everybody hung out all night. And this is how the behavior was. So somebody would do something stupid and you just destroy them for hours. Like the whole club, we'd all get on them. We'd all just roll up. Like, so that was he was kind of in that crew. Even though Chris wasn't really around when we were coming up. Chris was like, he did Saturday Night Live. He was in LA and then he was on the road. And then he came in with his first special and he was just destroying. And so everybody was not expecting Chris to come with that level of comedy back then.
I'm glad you explained it, because I never looked at it that way with Will. Yeah, you got to kind of be careful.
Technically, Will Smith is still bigger, even with the slap in the face than Chris Rock. Okay. And Chris, man, what control. And the funniest thing to me is what he said right when he got slapped. Do you know what I'm saying? Because most people, when they get slapped, like you can tell exactly his thought. And his thought was, when all he said was, it was a G.I. Jane joke. And like the whole concept was, I know that Chris Rock didn't write that joke. There was no way Chris Rock wrote that joke. There was an army of writers at the Academy Awards, and some hack wrote that joke, threw it on the teleprompter, and made him say the joke, where he was like, I gotta say this joke? Really? Because that joke is from like 1992.
Right.
And the fact that was a joke, of all the jokes about everybody that got him slapped, is mind-blowing to me. And I'm sure that was mind-blowing to him. And that's why I was like, it's a G.I. Jane joke. Like, he knew the quality of the joke. Like his core being at that moment was slap. And this is how comedic genius, he's like, the essence of that joke was from 1994. That was he should have been appalled by him using that old joke. That's the only thing should have gotten him slapped, was like, really? A joke from the early 90s? That's what it should have been. But that's how good Chris Rock is.
Do you think that the slap was more about the joke or what?
I posted this line the second it happened. I went, testosterone boosters are a hell of a drug. I think it was ego. And I just think, I mean, their whole thing is, I mean, everybody, the word on the street, and I don't know, they could go ahead and sue me. I don't know, but the word is known to be that they're swingers. So, and that they run around with everybody. Everyone's like, you know, because some people are like, oh, she cheated on him. It was like, they've been cheating on each other for 20 years. Okay.
Right. It's nothing new.
20 years. Yeah, there's nothing new. So, but I will say, she scares me. And I don't know if it's the you know, you can't explain this to people in California. Like, she scares me. She's got like Baltimore written all over her face. She always scared me, even in her most not that she's not beautiful.
Right.
Scary. She's scary, beautiful.
It seems like she make Will do shit he don't want to do, or
I don't even know. You know what? I don't think Will Smith is that stupid though. I don't think he's stupid. And right. I just think that I'll be really honest. I wouldn't be surprised if he was on testosterone boosters.
Wow.
He played that role, you know, and that role, he was so good in that, you know, when he plays Serena Williams' dad, he was so good, you know, and, you know, King Richard, he was so good. But that character was also a little unhinged. So it feels like a character that he fused into his spirit. He couldn't actually let go of. Because that happens to me. Sometimes I'm like, why would I say something so stupid? It's like, oh, I was hanging out with my stupid friend. His stupid friend wasn't even his wife. His stupid friend was playing his stupid friend, not saying that King Richard's stupid, but he was in somebody else's like body or something. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe, he was in somebody else's body. He channeled somebody else's body. Because that was, and the weirdest thing is that he didn't even punch him. The weirdest thing was that weird slap. The slap was hilarious because it was like a dramatic stance, like his legs are postured a certain way, and he's like, slap. It was weird. I was like, if you're standing that way, you're Ali, you should have punched him. You know what I mean? How about a punch, not a slap? It was like he had a glove to take off. Slap, slap.
That was a millionaire slap.
That was, oh yeah, right? That is the best description. Definitely a millionaire slap.
You're watching The Traffic Jam.
Have that ever happened to you where you got into a situation or offended someone in the audience and it like got out of control, or they ran on stage or anything like that?
Well, I had, I don't know, it's like I offended someone in the audience. Usually the comedians were the ones trying to stop me from what I was doing. I'm not kidding. It was always other comedians. But I have had a guy like grab my crotch while I was on stage up at Uptown. Yeah. And then security didn't do nothing. And then I had a guy walk on stage super drunk, like on the stage, and the security didn't do anything. And that was the Comedy Cellar. So, and then I've had a lot of people, like a lot of comedians. Like I had a DJ once. I was up in the Bronx and the DJ was messing with this one guy I loved, Welfare Fred. And Fred's he looks like a big white dude, but he's Sephardic Jew. So he's a big dude. So we know him as Welfare Fred. He just passed away during COVID. And Freddie used to protect me because I remember almost getting into a fist fight with Tracy Morgan. Tracy Morgan didn't like one of the characters I did. And he came at me. He literally was coming at me. And Freddie had to physically put us between the two of us. But Tracy's flip-flop, because the next day I did something, the audience hated me. He's like, quick, get in the getaway car, get in the getaway car. He's like, they're gonna kill you, get the car. And like we drove off. And then the next day he saved my life. But the other thing was, like I said, what was the one I was just saying? I'm still drinking my coffee. The one I said before I said Tracy, Tracy impression.
Right.
There was another one. Yeah, there was like a lot of crazy stuff that happened to me. Crazy stuff. Oh, the DJ. So the DJ is like scratching to get Freddie off stage because he doesn't like Freddie.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Freddie is the guy that tagged all the New York City subways. Like Keith Haring was his like apprentice. Freddie's father fought Muhammad Ali, so they're punking Freddie. And so, and I felt so bad. I literally had like a brace on my leg from something. I can't remember. I remember I hobbled to the stage and I tried to say something nice about Freddie that I didn't think it was very nice. Everybody did that before I started my act. The DJ starts playing bitch over every time I go into a punchline. Every time I say go to punchline, bitch, he scratches it off a record. So I took the mic and I chucked it at him. And then he came down and he chased me around. I'm hobbling around with one leg and Freddie's between the two. Let's just say I had to leave the Bronx. But yeah, I've had it. They used to boo me every time I went on stage. Be white bitch, get off the stage before I could tell a joke.
Yeah.
So like to get on Def Jam, I had to go to like the Peppermint Lounge. I had to go, I survived the Apollo trying to boo me when I walked off. I mean, it was like crazy what I went through. Because not only do I have to say, hey, I come out and I just tell my story, but then everyone's like, she's white. I'm like, I'm not white, I'm black, but I look white. But let me explain. Like, I'm Italian. So, and they only give you like 7 seconds, three. Usually it's supposed to give you 7 seconds to see if you're funny. Me, I couldn't even get to the mic and they'd already be like, oh. So I'd have to work my first line had to be funny or I was out of there.
Oh yeah. Yeah. People don't know. I tell people being from Chicago and people don't know how often that happens when you have to be tough doing stand-up, man, because you're doing comedy in bars and places that sometimes you're gonna have to fight. You know, you need to know how to fight and protect yourself.
Yeah. And then you're leaving in the middle of the night. So then Freddie, what I loved about Freddie was we'd be doing shows in like the South Bronx, and Freddie would make sure I got home safe. Like we'd get on the subway, and you know, not like he had a car, we'd get on the subway, we're all broke, you know. You know, so you can't be, comedy is not for, you know, people, you know, it's funny because people just will randomly not like you. Like I saw some, like I always have like 5-star reviews online with stuff, and somebody, I'm like a 4.5. And then I'm like up all night upset. And then I was like, wait a minute, this could be like some jerk that I dissed. You know, you don't even think about it. It could be some guy that was like, I'm not going out with you or whatever. I'm gonna give her a bad comedy review. Yes, I'm gonna take out mine. You know.
Do you get into this big comedy debate of who's the GOAT? Who's the GOAT to you of comedy?
Pryor. Richard Pryor. I don't understand. Like, okay, let me explain this.
Okay, please.
Some of these people who are my friends that are claiming who's the GOAT.
And
I love all of those guys dearly, and they're all brilliant. But if you really watch Pryor, no one as good as Pryor. None of them do what Pryor does. Pryor is completely vulnerable. Pryor will take you into a world of telling you something and play the characters in them, and he can he broke boundaries that we wouldn't even be dealing with cancel culture, because all of his premise lines started with, he's an idiot, I'm the idiot. He doesn't go, you're an idiot and I'm so smart and I think you guys. He doesn't do that. So I don't understand how we got lost here of who's the GOAT. I think also too, what I like most about Jay-Z is that he says he's one of the greatest. Jay-Z never says he's the greatest.
Right.
He's like, he knows all that, and he was able to see his career to the end where Biggie wasn't and Tupac wasn't. But, you know, he says it. He's humble, humble in it, which makes me like him and make him the role model of what our comedians are playing this who's the GOAT. Because you're really not paying attention. If you're not even coming close to paying attention.
Right.
If you're saying you're just slinging words, Pryor would disappear in a character. You wouldn't see Pryor. You would see who he became. When he would do an Italian, you saw an Italian. Well, you know, anything he chose to do, you saw. You know, and I think a lot of the guys are working closer to trying to be like Carlin than they are Pryor. And I had I was very lucky to have met Carlin, and he gave me a lot of comedy advice. And Carlin was very, very much of a stand-up guy, like very much of a stand-up guy. But I still think Carlin's more thorough as well. So I would say the greatest of all time is Richard Pryor. The second is George Carlin. But there were two different styles. So it's almost like, you know, can you compare two of the greatest grandmasters of martial arts?
Right.
The styles were totally different.
What's the two biggest difference that you can think of between Carlin and Pryor?
Carlin worked from his point of view and his feelings about things. Okay. Pryor worked from his point of view and feelings about himself.
Hey everybody, this is comedian Brad Williams, and you're watching The Traffic Jam. That's right. You could be watching porn, but you're not. You're watching The Traffic Jam. Good for you.
Wow.
One worked from the brain, the other worked from the heart. But, you know, that's kind of indicative of, you know, you have, like I said, when martial arts styles are developed, it has to do with how tall you are, how short you are. What are you in a region where people are riding up on horses, so you need to use leaping kicks? Or are you grappling or close? You're very close. Fighting, punching is the longest you're going to go, and knees and elbows, and grappling because you're in a city, right? So same thing, you know, he's a white male from that time period who ended up kind of falling. His fan base came from the hippie movement, but he was still a white man. Whereas Pryor, the pain ran so much deeper. So it's like a different martial arts style. And, you know, and that's the one thing too, is there are comedians that I look up to and love to death, but they're like, this is how comedy's supposed to be done. No, it isn't. You can't, nobody fights the same fight. If you go out there and if you're a little person, you can't fight tiger style. If you're a woman, you can't fight tiger style. You got to fight crane. You know, you have to do, and if somebody's smaller than me, then I fight differently, you know? So it's very, comedy is martial arts, man. It's like, it's very much, everything is everything. And it's about how close do you find your own way? Because Bruce Lee at the end of Intercepting Fist, you know, was really coming to the style of the way of no way, which is everything is different. Everything is calculated.
Are you saying that comics should study martial arts? Would
I
that
think
help you in stand-up?
Yeah, martial arts and boxing helped me tremendously. But as a woman, I have to fight so much on everything I do, my point of view, even if they're not heckling, even if it's like, I was at an Italian audience, I'm down in Borgata, a lot of Italians, the Italian men are so, especially the older guys, they won't, now the younger guys do it too. When they see a woman come on stage, they're like, abroad is talking, I will let her speak to my wife. So I got to slap them into focus, you know, because the misogyny on it is so crazy. But my anxiety of used to being booed and all these other things, and I was always into martial arts and boxing, it's always like my footwork. It's like always having footwork. Plus I come from a family of tap dancers, but it's all very rhythmic to me. So, and actually I once interviewed Phyllis Diller, and she said that all the greatest comedians were musicians. She was a piano player. Johnny Carson was a drummer. So they have an understanding of timing, but timing, rhythm, boxing, some forms of martial arts, more like a Jeet Kune Do, very, very rhythmic, very timing. So when to strike, a punchline is when to strike. You can have a beautiful combination that, you know, like a long winding joke, but if you can't land a jab, then you ain't going to get that off. So it's all.
That's amazing. Man, you've been in the game a long time. Do you think stand-up has changed, and what has changed in stand-up? What's the difference?
I have quit for 15 years, maybe a little bit longer. I'd only come back if I needed a check paid, because I had a horrible series of experiences as a woman in this. And as I've come back, really, it hasn't changed. Nothing's changed. Nothing's changed. Not even people's jokes have changed. You know how crazy that is? I came back and I'm like, and I'm scrambling, like, I can't come back with the same jokes. They come back and everybody's doing the same jokes. Like, dude, really? Like, and these are guys who are the top of the game and they're doing the same jokes. You know, everyone's still got the same problems. Everyone's got the same chip on their shoulder. Everyone's got the same weird ass personality. The clubs still aren't paying shit. You know, like no pay raise. I'm like, really? It's almost been 2 decades. I don't want to say it because I'm kind of, you know, because everybody's like, you look young. But I told them I was black back in the day. That's what Bill Burr was like. Bill Burr was like, I thought it was you, but you look exactly the same. I was like, I told you I was black 20 years ago. Nobody believed me. Now the proof's in the pudding, because I didn't show up like, hi Bill, nice to see you. And they're like, hey man, how are you? So yeah, it's crazy. I wish something had changed. I mean, the pay went from what, chicken wings or $15 a night to $100 a night, but still doesn't mean, but the wait staff still making out with like $800 each waitress. You know, the wait staff makes way more than us.
Yeah. Damn. So what's next for you? What's
you know what they're doing? They're allowing, like, I can now sometimes, if I want, have a woman on my show, if I'm a female. Okay. You couldn't do that before.
No,
it's inching along for women. But I noticed this: women are getting opportunities in comedy only if they talk about their vagina. If you do say, like, any woman who's got real smart, challenging stuff, it's like, even Leslie Jones is doing stuff, and she's funny as hell. I know Leslie from back in the day, and Leslie's so funny. And these guys won't even, like, I'm like, why aren't you working with Dave? Why aren't you working with all the guys? And she's like, don't even get me started. They won't put me down. I was like, they know Leslie's gonna bring it. They'll help women that are hoey and act stupid, but they won't help women that are truly funny and hold their own.
Oh shit.
No, somebody should have brought Adele Givens back. Like, Adele's like working here and there. They won't bring Adele back. They do not help. But you'll notice all the women that come along with them are like, they kind of play like dingy, and they're kind of okay, and they suck up to them. But there's a ton of female comics. Paula Bell, she's another one, just destroys, and, getting older, she's someone who could use a boost in her career. There's a lot of female comics, Vanessa Hollingshead, these guys are ridiculous. They work their asses off, but they need some support. These guys don't help. Never.
No, not even say, hey, here's a show here, here's a show. They won't
Hey,
do
I'm
that.
bringing all these people on the road. Hey, I got this big venue. Hey, I got such and such. I'm going to bring everybody up. It's guy after guy after guy after guy in one dingy broad. I'm kind of funny. Is this how I do it? Is this how I tell a joke? Thank you. You guys are so nice. About my vagina. Oh God, it's painful.
So what's next for you, Maya? What you got?
Okay, I got a special. It's coming out on Amazon. I'll take it. Okay. I feel like a bunting and got on first base and you say Amazon, but I'm grateful. Grateful. It's called Maya, Maya, Maya. It comes out August 16th. So it should be out by the time this is out. And I need support. I need people pushing. I need people to watch it. I need people to go, oh, she's funny, and give me reviews, But like the one thing is that I'm grateful for is coming up, the Uptown Comedy Club, back in the day, back then, because I know I'm funny.
Okay.
Like I might have other like issues with comedy that make me not want to show up. But go ahead, heckle me. Go ahead, make a fool of yourself in that audience. Because I after being from Uptown, I'll eat you for breakfast. My whole show changes. My friends laugh because they're like, what is this personality that comes out? It's like, this is called growing up at Uptown Comedy Club. And I'm like, I'll do a 45-minute show on how stupid you are.
How long was Uptown Comedy Club around?
I don't know. I got it at the end, but they started Tracy Morgan. They had a TV show. Like, I came in right at like their last year up there on 125th. And then they moved to a couple other places as Kevin Hart and all them, if you know anything about Tracy Morgan. Yeah, so it's just like, that was my roots. And I didn't know how to snap back then. I didn't know any of that stuff. I used to rely on my best friend, comedian Pam Green, rated PG. And Pam they would try to punk me so bad. They would do all these humiliating things. And Pam used to stand up for me. But Russell Simmons used to sleep on Pam's couch. So Pam was like, from back in the day, yeah, he used to be like, he'd be like, he had no place to stay. He'd be like, Pam, let me in. So if you watch Crush Groove and he's always trying to get buzzed in, that's Pam. That's who Pam was in real life. So thank God for her, but she taught me how to snap. Now I'm grown.
And now you good, huh?
She used to make Mike Epps cry. That's how funny she was. Mike Epps used to cry when she snapped on him.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I love hearing those stories, man. I just want to thank you for taking your time out of your morning.
Oh, thank you.
For being with Traffic Jam this morning. So insightful. I can listen to you talk comedy all day. You taught me so much already.
Aww.
And what's crazy about comedy is you're always learning. I've been doing it 15 years and I know that's still a baby, but yeah, you're so inspiring, man. I appreciate you taking your time out. Whenever you're in Chicago, please let us know.
I just left Batavia. They got a killer club down in Batavia.
Yeah, really.
St. Charles, called Comedy Vault. It's like turned into my favorite room. My favorite room in the country, Like I love Laugh Factory and Batavia. That's it. That's it. Like, don't you want to do the show in the Caymans? I was like, forget the Caymans. Bring me to Chicago. You put me in St. Charles. All right. Well, thank you.
Plug your social media.
Yeah, I'm million dollar Maya on everything. $1 Million Maya. Charlie Murphy. I had a fight with Donnell Rollins once, and then he told Charlie Murphy about it. So every time I walked in, Charlie Murphy was like, $1 Million Baby. So what was funny was I go in and one time I told him, I was like, that wasn't like a big fight. Like I slapped him with a notebook or something. He's like, oh, Donnell told this whole story of you using Kung Fu and everything. He's like, you need to stick with that story.
Wow.
So $1 Million Maya, and my special is called Maya, Maya, Maya. It's out on Amazon Prime and Apple TV. So
we definitely gonna Check it out. Thank you so much. This is Marvin Phipps with This Week Traffic Jam with your girl Maya. Thank you so much, Maya. We'll chop it up later. Peace.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
The Traffic Jam is on now.